Now, time for some drama.
The topic we've been waiting for. I've been hinting at it.
We just need to make sure that we don't kill it, like always, with stupidity.
I feel like there's too much noise regarding new AI agent this, new AI agent that.
So we need more liquidity because there's more shit to do on Solana.
And if you're selling while promoting, I can't really think of a more piece of shit thing to do.
GM, everyone, and good morning wherever you are, and welcome to Sol Brothers with my good friend Eno and myself, Simon, where it is our job to throw you guys into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting ecosystem.
Our mission is to take you through the latest and greatest on Solana so that you never run out of fun things to talk about with the homies. Hey, Simon, how are you? I think you're in Dubai. How is it?
GM, good to see you again, my friend. And yes, I'm in Dubai right now. Actually, I flew in here like a week ago for some important business that I have to do here, as you usually do when you're in Dubai. But also, I love to be here, always meeting up with the homies. I have a few friends here that are based here. I come here since like 4 or 5 years every year, usually, and just meet with some people. So really excited. It's a great time in the year to be here as well.
Just a few friends, because Simon is famously underconnected. Especially in
Dubai. I know 1 or 2 people here, yeah. No, but it's actually like that's the thing about Dubai. You need to know good people here, otherwise it sucks. And it's either boring as shit or negative, because there's also a lot of grifters and kind of negative people here and just people that are too superficial. But if you have a good circle of like actually, nice entrepreneurs and honest long-term thinkers that live here, then Dubai is great for that. Like, sit with them, have a coffee at the yard downstairs. It's really cool. It's just the lifestyle itself is just fun, right? So I'm really grateful for the ability even to come here so many times and hang with so many good people. But anyway, you're in Athens.
Yeah. I think I got really lucky with Dubai, by the way, because, shout out again to Alex Scott, the head of Super Team UAE. He had done all the hard work of filtering the people who came to season 1 of Founders Villa. I know he did the same thing for season 2. And so, day 1, essentially, I met you, right? And you already have your own established network in Dubai. You actually showed us around a little bit. You're like, we're going to this shisha joint, and then we're going to eat over here. It's very traditional. So, I feel very thankful that you're one of the first people I met in Dubai, and you are obviously not a grifter. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
What's going on in Greece?
I flew out to the region early because I'm going to be the MC for Katstemboul, which is at the end of the month over in Turkey. But nice. While I'm here, I just thought, why not check Greece? I've never been here before.
Actually, we're in the same time zone now, almost. Dubai is like 2 hours after Athens, I think. So it's actually, it's rare that both of us are recording in the same time zone. It's not like 4 a.m. wherever you are. Episode 11, I think for the 20 we should do something special. Let's do a special on EP 20. I think that's going to be fun. For everyone who's tuning in here right now in the live stream, welcome. We're doing this every single Monday in a live format where we record the sessions that we then put out on podcast for Spotify, Apple Podcast, and also on our YouTube channel where you can actually see our faces and have a more interesting experience than on the podcast. But either way, wherever you're tuning in right now, we're thankful for having you on board. And at Sol Brothers, we are trying to ship you the latest and greatest in the Solana ecosystem. So we're going to do that today as well. We're going to kick things off with looking at some charts, looking at some prices, looking at where we're at in the market right now. But then shortly after that, we're going to jump into the first news, what's new on Solana, product launches, token launches, all kinds of things, and even some drama going up in the crypto space that we want to cover as well. We're looking at a chart right now, and it is not a meme coin that's just mooning right now. It's not some sketchy new cat with a hat on its head that is about to go to the moon or already mooning. No, it is the M2 money supply of the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States. So we're looking at global liquidity, basically, which is very simply said, money in circulation. And this number has been started to go up since 1959, and we saw a big exponential growth here in the 2000s, right? So actually, I think around the 2000s, with the internet coming up, communication technology, and so on, the slope here gets in an exponential era, and people are calling this the exponential age. Shout out to Raul Pal, our banana zone expert, who is always putting out interesting macro thesis out there. I actually like the guy to tune in here and there. You've got to take his advice with a grain of salt, but the macro analysis he puts out is actually very interesting. And also he says, and I confirm that I have the same belief, that we are not done pumping money into the economy, especially with the presidential swap that's happening actually very soon. I think it's the 20th of January, right? And that should be the date. So we have about a week to go until Donald Trump is officially going to go into office. And I don't think Trump is someone that backs down, that slows down, that wants to, settle things. I think he's going to keep pushing. I think the Republican government in the US will keep pushing the money supply up. What does that mean for crypto? That is the essential question here. More money in circulation means also more money for risk assets, and that usually correlates with crypto prices going up and to the right, which is something that is not happening right now. Looking at the Solana chart, at the short term 30-minute chart here right now, and interestingly, I don't want to pat myself on the shoulder, but my thesis is kind of playing out here in the midterm at least. We saw a correction starting on the beginning of January, the 6th of January, in a downwards wave right now, and then usually the fourth wave of a downwards move is going usually a bit longer or sideways, and we actually saw that happening right now. Yesterday, I actually opened a small short position, but I got stopped out at this stupid candle up here, so I'm not in it anymore. Anyway, we are going down as I wanted it to see, and I think we're going to touch the 178.5. Let's see how accurate I am with my stupid TA analysis here. Always take this with a grain of salt as well, because we don't have the magic ball that tells us the future, but you can use technical analysis to get some get some insights into how humans think, because at the end of the day, prices move the way human psychology works. So yeah, one more down that I expect here before we could see a reversal into another wave up. So let's see if we now pass through the 180 and then go up potentially into new all-time highs for Solana. Let's see in the next quarter or in this upcoming quarter in 2025. It might be choppy. It will be choppy, I think, but we are not done with the bull market. That is at least the thesis that I put out here personally in the podcast. Any thoughts, on all these price topics that I put out here?
So first of all, like before we started the pod, you said something to the effect of, "I'm happy that SOL price is going down," and my initial reaction was like, "What the fuck, Simon? Like, why?" But I get it now, right? So you had a specific thesis that there would be a market correction trending downwards. You said it was the fourth wave of what? I'm sorry, I don't do TA. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more?
There's a system which is actually super interesting. It's the Elliott wave analysis, which is a TA tool, an indicator that you can use. And the Elliott waves, you can actually do some research about how it works. It even goes into mathematics and physics and natural laws. It's very interesting. Like, even if you look at the shape of a snail, it's very random. If you look at the shape of a snail, there's distances in the geometry of the snail that is exactly the Fibonacci levels that Elliott wave predict. So the Fibonacci levels and Elliott wave analysis is something that is kind of almost a universe law, I would say. If you really dig deep, it's super interesting. But anyway, bottom line, in TA, there's a 5-wave system that usually kind of correlates with how markets move. It plays out really well. I do like to use it once in a while, always with a grain of salt, because it's predictions, right? So I predicted that we started a downwards move, which usually goes in 5 waves down. So you see initial wave down, then you see a wave 2 correction, a wave 3 down, which is the largest one, and then a wave 4 correction to the downward, means upside wave, right? So wave 4 was sideways, and now we're in the last wave of the 5-wave move, which is 5. And then after this, the correction shall be concluded, which I assign like a 60%, 70% chance that this was actually, that's the scenario that I'm looking for. And then we could see the reversal. So that's why I say this is the last wave of the 5-wave move down. Let's see if it plays out. But I see some people in Solana, slowly, starting buying in again, opening some long positions. Right now with this, people call it the phase to accumulate, right? But yeah, I'm happy it plays out that way, because we do need the corrections once in a while. It doesn't always go up into the right 24/7.
Well, in terms of my opinion on this, you've heard me say this a million times, but I don't give a shit about short-term price, because as long as we keep talking about and building on Solana, then the rest of the price fundamentals will take care of themselves. The most important thing is that we're active as builders, and we're letting people know like all the cool things
Yeah.
that are launching on Solana. So with that in mind, I think we have our first topic for today, which is Solana is reaching all-time highs for stablecoin issuance. So over 500 million of USDC has been minted on Solana just this week, which is a huge trend reversal, especially considering that Tether has been dominating, especially since the post Silicon Valley Bank crash, which shook confidence in USDC and its token because it had some amount of funds in SVB. But now it's very good to see Circle growing, especially on Solana.
Mm. That's actually really bullish. I said it before. I like stable TVL going up. It is always a healthy sign for any ecosystem. So really happy that we see these numbers.
What do you think that the growth in stablecoin TVL might imply? Does it imply that? And I think that you would be much better positioned to answer this. But does that imply
Mm.
that people are starting to exit out of their positions, or that people from outside of Solana are starting to bridge their stables to look for investment opportunities? Like, how do you interpret that information?
I think there's two ways you need to look at this. The one thing you said, if you look at global, for example, USDT dominance, right? So how much money in crypto is actually in USDT right now, which is the largest asset. We looked at that number before here on the pod. That is definitely a market indicator for market sentiment, because we see traders circulating from risk assets into less risky assets, which is obviously stable coins in crypto. It's the quickest way how you can make sure that your money is safe, right? From like closing your positions, pulling out your money from Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and all the other tokens. So that's one thing. But then for an ecosystem, for a blockchain as Solana, looking at USDC being minted from the issuer, right? USDC being minted by the issuer, I think that is more a sign for demand, for stable demand, for TVL demand, for money demand on the ecosystem. So we need more liquidity because there's more shit to do on Solana. People are looking for ways to make money on their on their money in DeFi. So that's a very bullish sign.
So the long and short of it is that we're still and continue to be bullish on Solana.
I don't think it's going to change here in this podcast. Just like a little disclaimer for everyone. Yeah, we're a bit biased here, right? So like, if you guys wanna like, that's the good thing, right? If you listen to Bankless and Soul Brothers, you always get the best of both worlds. Like, you get the bulls for ETH, you get the bulls for Soul, and then you can make up your own mind. Beautiful. Someday we should make a episode together.
And only one of those podcasts is going to grift you. So I'm sorry, I can't help it. The jokes, I got to do it. The jokes are too funny,
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get to that story. What else, What's new?
So I dug up this random tweet, but I think it expresses something that I've seen throughout the ecosystem, especially in the last 2 weeks. And this wasn't a particularly popular tweet, but I felt it was the most direct and expressed exactly what I was feeling. And let me just read it out loud, right? Honestly, don't care about AI agent coins on Solana anymore. It doesn't matter how cool a project sounds. In 3 days, there will be 20 more projects with a similar pitch that will take mindshare and split liquidity. Before I lost count on the number of AI agent coins that I've lost on the number of infra coins, shit is cooked. I agree. It's just, I don't know about you, but I feel like there's too much noise regarding new AI agent this, new AI agent that.
Too much. Welcome to
It's too
crypto.
much.
There's way too much. But look, honestly, what the heck happened with meme coins when they were starting? Bonk kicked it off, right? Like, they were kind of the OG, and then people were like, what is this new asset class? A token without utility, but the market cap of fucking millions to billions? I want to do that. So they came up with all these crazy ideas. And then people saw all these crazy ideas and came up with even more crazy ideas, because there's money involved. Crypto is such an it amplifies and it amplifies any kind of narrative that you put on anything, because there's money involved and people are trying to make money on it. The incentives are always to grab attention as much as possible. So whenever you have some new technology, however shitty it is or however world changing it might be, both will end up the same, oversaturated in a bubble. That is just crypto. It's just how crypto works. So is that bad or good? I don't even know. It's probably bad, because the net negative effect is too big. Like, too many people lose money on that shit. And this happens with agent coins right now, because there's too much noise. But if you do the job right, And if you sort through the noise and pick the signal, then you can find the gems, right? And there are
Yeah.
gems because crypto AI has a narrative that actually makes sense. We just need to make sure that we don't kill it, like always, with stupidity.
So I have a bit of a premature thesis on how I think capital rotation will work through this next cycle, and I don't know how many times we'll see this cycle through, right? But my thesis is that you'll see Sol pump, right, and then memes like animal memes, like really really dumb memes with no fundamentals at all, will be the Sol beta play, right? So you'll see all the capital kind of go into Sol and then meme shitters, and then after that, people looking for the next 100x. There's going to be this appetite, like we've seen, for real narratives, right? So AI agent tokens, they're somewhat destructive because they have meme coin potential, but
Yeah.
they have plausible narratives, right? That gets
Yeah.
people really excited to invest. But
Yeah.
then those are kind of like the intermediary step towards like I would call like thesis coins. I think after that,
Mm.
you'll see real DeFi protocol tokens start to pump as well, right? Like all the
Mm.
capital will start to go into there because people realize like, oh, too many pump and dumps, even with the narrative. So we should go into
Mm.
protocols that have a history of shipping. And after that, you should
Mm.
probably see Sol start to pump again and back into this rotation into memes. So that's kind of what I'm seeing for this cycle, anyways. But well, TBD.
I think to an extent I agree. We usually see that play out. We saw it play out in the past as well in a similar way.
Yeah.
Like, the cyclation, or how do you say, like, cycling from different narratives to another one, and from memes to alts, and from alts to large caps, and from large
Yeah.
caps to stables. And there's always this. That's just how humans work as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now it is oversaturated. The market is a bit cooked.
Next two topics we want to bring up are kind of more related to new tokens that will be launching
Yeah,
on Solana. So I am actually not aware of what's going on in the Sol layer universe. So you want to talk a little bit more
cool.
about what's going on there?
Solana was primed to become the eigen layer of Solana, so a restaking protocol, which they kind of did. So they did a very good job at building a great product and building a good brand around their name. So Solana is a name right now on Solana for sure. They raised a bunch of money from pretty credible institutions as well, which is always, everyone has their opinions. Like, it's good and bad at the same time. Some of them are maybe not the best on your cap table to have, but then for a token sale, it is kind of helpful to have Binance Labs backing you and Anatoly be on the cap table. Especially Toly is definitely a good seal to have in your cap table. So overall, Solana, a pretty credible product. Now, what they did, first of all, is actually a product launch, not a token launch. And they announced the Infini SVM, which is a blockchain. But there was a big post as well about the Infini SVM. You guys can check it out. It is like a good paper that they put out. A very technical product, I would say. But basically, it is a blockchain built on the Solana virtual machine. And they have some interesting ideas around that. That is obviously correlating with their main product, which is restaking and the USDS stablecoin as well, or SUSD, sorry. And then they also launched Layer. So that's the big the new revelation. Layer is going to come very soon. The token, the TGE, is set for sometime in the next months. I don't know how much I may say because I do know a little bit more, but it is coming soon. But what I can say is that the community sale is opening, and community sale participants can invest starting on the 13th of January, which is today, at 10 a.m. UTC. So at the time of recording, it is probably right now UTC time. Yeah, it's actually opening soon in the next couple hours. And the details for the community sale can also be accessed if you just head over to biddlepad.com/solayer, because they are launching on a launchpad called Biddlepad, where you have to pass a KYC first to be then able to take part in the sale. And the details can be also found on that page for Biddlepad, where you can also see what's the valuation right now, which is set at 350 million. That's the FDV for the community sale. Right now, I think the token is trading on the pre-trading, either on Maxi or on Bybit. There's some exchange has the token in pre-trading, and it trades in pre-trading at, I think, 0.7 or something. Basically, almost a 2x from the community sale valuation. So I saw some people on crypto Twitter already saying, "Oh, Layer seems to be a pretty pretty easy 2x if you take part in the community sale, because the tokens will be released 100% at DTG. So there's actually no lock and vesting for the community sale. I don't know exactly what's the total amount that they raise. I think it's like 10 mil, right? Total fundraising, $10 million. And you can invest up to 2K per wallet, basically. So per KYC wallet, there's a 2K cap. I saw that somewhere. So yeah, I think that's the news about Solana. Token launching soon, community sale opening now.
What I found pretty funny looking at that kind of like description is in the payment methods, there are the usual suspects, USDC, Sol, even USDT. What I wasn't expecting is that both Bonk and WIF are also accepted payment tokens, which I mean just speaks to how OG both of those meme coins are, right? Like they really represent the best that Solana memes have to offer, at least the ones that kicked off the wave, specifically Bonk. But yeah, it's fascinating to see that. I don't even think that WIF and Bonk had to reach out to Solana for that to be a payment token. There are just so many holders of WIF and Bonk. It just makes sense to include it. People have huge bags. So
anyway, what's next, my friend?
The next is also another token announcement, this time from Jambo.
Yo.
So for those of you who don't know, Jambo is a phone manufacturer that focuses on emerging markets, which is different from, like, let's say the Seeker, which is manufactured and planned out, and the operations are run by Solana Foundation. So Jambo, I think, has sold over 500,000 phones around the world. Obviously, these phones are enabled for crypto native users. Makes a lot of sense for folks in emerging markets to have crypto native phones, especially since their local financial systems are in tatters, ruins, awful to use. So crypto is a natural PMF, especially for crypto phones. And they're releasing a new token, J. And I'll be honest with you, Simon, as much as look, no shade to Sam or James, love you guys. I'm not so sure about this one. I'm a bit of a Grinch when it comes to governance tokens, and I don't think that a phone should have one. I'd be willing to be proven wrong. I'd love to hear the different ways that Sam and James and the rest of the Jambo team are thinking about using the J token for the Jambo ecosystem. I'm sure that they have a lot of ideas, but my initial reaction towards this token announcement is actually not favorable. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's always a bit difficult to say because we don't know yet 100% how they will incorporate the token, which itself is a problem. Governance tokens, definitely, I'm just like, it doesn't really, it's over. Like we need more utility for a token than just governance. It is a nice gimmick to have. Like if you have a token, use it for governance, but it shouldn't be the main driver for the token utility, especially for a product like Jumbo, because I don't think the user base, the target audience of Jumbo, gives a flying shit about taking part in governance proposals and things like this. So not 100% sure in that. Keep in mind that Jumbo's community, emerging market, and the people that are using these phones, they're highly incentivized by getting value out of that product. So they're looking, like usually they're looking for airdrop campaigns, they're looking for things like this. If you can build like something proper around that, sure, but there's this danger that there's too many people that are just grabbing money and too little value add to the token, right? So I think, also a controversial kind of topic in my opinion. I love the team, I love the product. I think they're onto something, that's for sure. So if they, if it would be a normal kind of company with shares and everything, I'd be, interested for an angel ticket. Like launching the token at a high FDV for a governance system, doing all the major sex listings and so on, dangerous. Like it is definitely dangerous. We've seen it play out with products that have much more token utility, like Magic Eden, that did a similar, like big tum-tum, like big show around it. Best token launcher, like best exchange is secured, and so on and so on. But then the token is kind of, going down to the right since a while.
So I think that's where you and I differ a little bit philosophically, is that I do think that tokens associated with projects should be used for governance. It's one of the massive failures of stocks, right? Like ostensibly having stocks makes you a shareholder. And since you're a shareholder, you have a right to vote, but nobody votes. And I do think that's a failure of modern financial markets, right? So I do think that in crypto, especially, we should continue to push for the governance utility of a token. But if you're not going to do that, which is okay, by the way, then the only other acceptable route in my mind is value accrual. So you need to be able to
Yeah.
demonstrate to your community that's going to buy this token what revenue streams from Jambo are you, or not. And it's actually not specific to Jambo. I'm actually talking about a bunch of protocols here, right? Even some of the biggest ones.
Mm.
But I am very curious about like what does value accrual look like then over the long term, and that is actually a very dirty topic that I don't think anyone wants to talk about in crypto quite yet. Is like what is the actual value accrual plan? And the reason why people don't want to talk about that specifically during a bull market is the moment that you actually share concrete plans about what the value accrual will look like, you can calculate the token price. And nobody wants you to be able to calculate the token price, especially during banana season, because people want the price to go hyperbolic.
Speculation. Yeah.
This keeps me up at night. I'm not quite so sure what to make of tokens like this, right? Where it's a team I deeply respect. I like the product. The thesis makes sense, right? But why token? If it's not for governance, then what's the value accrual look like? But you're not going to tell me what the value accrual looks like because you want token price to go up. And again, I'm not picking on Jambo here specifically. I think that this is a wider problem that no one's really talking about.
Don't get me wrong. Governance should be part of the token utility, but it shouldn't be the main driver of the token price. Like that's why, like, I think crypto tokens are great to distribute the success of the protocol to a large audience of people. Ideally users of the protocol or the product, right? There should be part like that. That's what stocks are there for, right? Like I always told people, like when I did financial advisory for normal people, I told people like you brush your teeth every day with a toothpaste. You drive a car every day. All these products that you're using, they're publicly tradable stocks. You spend money buying these products every single day. Why not own part of these companies that you're spending money on, right? So just like share the success with the people that are using your products. Crypto tokens, great. That should be the main driver. And then governance should be the second big pillar that the token is being used for. But if it's only governance, then it sounds, for me, the pitch sounds more like, hey, we need to launch a token because we want to see price go up. We want people to speculate on us. If you ask us why token, well, easy answer, governance. But that's not enough. Like, I think it's not enough. Like, I need the value accrual part, and I think you can explain it. And I think there are tokens that do that. We try to do that with the company I have, but also the AI agent launchpad platforms. I think the idea is great. Like, you build an infrastructure for emerging technology that might go parabolic, and then all the agents launching on those launchpads, they will incur fees, and the fees are used to burn or to buy back tokens of your protocol, and that's how the value accrues in the protocol token. Okay, I get the value accrue.
Well, I'm excited to see kind of where the token meta goes over time. I know that we're constantly trying to reinvent things in crypto, but quite frankly, I think that we will see that not everything needs to be reinvented, and there are certain things that are done either for regulatory reasons or are just kind of the de facto standard in traditional financial markets that will end up just copying in a decade's time once things start to settle. But that's very much a topic, I guess, for a deeper topic, maybe over drinks.
I agree.
Moving on to our next session, which is all about products announcements. Simon, since you're European, I think you should definitely talk about what's going on with FTX and Backpack.
The title here is that Backpack has acquired FTX and the licenses that come along with the FTX entity. I don't know exactly the backstory, but Backpack used to be involved with FTX, right? Back then, like, that was the main problem they had. That is why they lost a shitload of money, because they had quite a lot of funds on FTX, and
and also Tristan used to work at FTX. Yeah.
Right. Like, even Armani. I think Armani too, no?
Yeah, I believe so. I could be wrong about this, but yeah, Tristan for sure. And I think they had over $20 million on FTX, if I remember the story correctly. Could be wrong about the specific figure, but they obviously are probably going through bankruptcy filing like everybody else. So what a twist.
Exactly. Like, it's beautiful. No, it's good to see now they're acquiring, the dying company to make use of it and to leverage that for their own business, because I think there's not a lot of entities with the MiFID II license in Europe that can do regulated crypto activities like this, and Backpack could be a major player in that. So I think obviously Backpack is a wallet, right, on Solana, but Backpack is also an exchange on Solana, and I think that product definitely needs an edge. It needs further adoption from the market. It's a very competitive space, and I think this move might give them that edge and push them in the right direction, especially for European citizens. So pretty good move. Very bullish on on the decision here.
Yeah, and let's review Backpack's strategy so far. They also have a presence in Dubai. They are registered there, and now they
Mm,
have a European presence. The story that Armani tells and has been telling is that because of, I believe, the recent MiCA regulations passed in Europe, there is no perpetuals on in Europe anymore. And so, by
mm,
acquiring this license, and not only the license but the users themselves,
mm,
Backpack wants to bring perpetuals back to Europe. And what I really like about their strategy is they're trying to do it the right way. There's plenty of exchanges out there who play very fast and loose with the regulations and hoping that they grow fast enough so that the
mm,
regulators can't fuck with them. But I like that Backpack is taking the more cautious approach. And they did pay a lot. There are some people who are joking around like, yo, you paid $30 million for a European license. Get the fuck out of here. But still, I
mm,
think that they probably bought themselves more than $30 million in free press. And not only
mm.
that, but they got the license and the users to boot. I think it's a very compelling
Yeah.
story. And I also think it makes sense because Europe is not a continent to fuck with, especially when it comes to regulations, because you guys take your shit very seriously. I mean, how many times has Facebook and Google been fined like billions of dollars, whereas like in America, they do the exact same thing. It's not a problem, right? But as soon as they come to Europe
Mm,
and start to, run their American strategies in Europe, it's
mm.
hundreds of millions of dollars in fines. So again, I think it's a very bullish move that Backpack has acquired FTX EU.
Agreed.
In other news, in Solana DeFi, this is a pretty big announcement. One of the bigger protocols on Solana, which I believe has very strong fundamentals, especially as it
Mm,
pertains to LSTs. So Sanctum is going to be rolling out governance with Futarchy. And I've spoken to the Sanctum team. It looks like they're not going to be using the existing Futarchy site. They're actually going to be
mm,
building on top of it. So they're going to
okay.
reimagine Futarchy from a UI UX perspective, so that
Cool.
it doesn't require like a 150 IQ to use it. Because I have used Futarchy before. I understand the basic mechanics of it. I certainly am not the best Futarchy trader, but a system that uses markets to determine the outcome of governance proposals is very complex. And so I'm very
Mm.
excited to see like how exactly Sanctum is going to try to reimagine Futarchy for their governance platform.
Yeah, I think the like future key has so much potential. It's kind of highly underestimated, and we need projects like Sanctum to build on top of it and to use it. And I think also what FP, the one of the co-founders of Sanctum, is saying here, um, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like governance has to be actually useful, otherwise there's no point building it. And he says that basically they need someone to make better decisions than the core team, which is great, right? That's a great
Yep.
take, and that only works if you use the swarm intelligence of the people, and governance. Is like community governance is very difficult to implement, but I think working with Futarki, yeah, will be the better option here than
Yeah.
going full on from scratch.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah.
one thing that surprised me about Futarchy as I started to use it, and I was on the Discord kind of learning like what exactly the core philosophy is, especially amongst practitioners and traders,
Mm,
is that in a normal democratic model, you would want as much participation as possible. And don't get me wrong, like as it pertains to Futarchy, they definitely want very high trading volume in that sense. But the Futards are more than happy to have signal rather than noise, meaning that they would rather have a few people who are highly knowledgeable with lots of capital
mm,
making decisions, as opposed to having like I don't know millions of traders who are very low
mm,
signal and are voting based on emotion as opposed to
mm,
facts, right? So
mm, mm,
that's quite interesting about the Futarchy model is they're not really that interested, I think, in growing the pie as big as possible, right? They are trying to find a balance between growing the pie
mm,
as well as making sure that the people who are actually putting up their capital and voting on proposals by buying pass or fail tokens are
mm.
knowledgeable, as opposed to just having like surface level knowledge and losing their capital because they trade horribly on Futarchy.
And it's such an interesting system overall, for crypto governance to put money on the table when it gets down to make a decision, really, right? It puts so much
Mhm.
more pressure on you to make the right call than just saying something because you're able to. You're not getting penalized or incentivized for being right or wrong. But here in a model like this, you can really nail down decision making, I think,
Yeah,
across several people. It's really beautiful. So yeah, looking forward to see how that plays out.
yeah.
The next one is super exciting, actually. Like the next news we have on the agenda. When I saw that on Twitter, I was like, oh wow, this thing is not dead. They're moving. The team is there. I thought they're just like, I thought they're, I don't know, like went to some island and are, doing fun things, but they're actually building. Why do I say that? Because Radium wasn't like, they're not known for, shipping and being loud and being out there all the time and going to conferences and so on. They kind of built the OG DEX on Solana. I think it was probably the first DEX on Solana, if I'm not mistaken. At least it was the first one that I used. And Radium now shipped Radium perps. So you can not only do liquidity pools and liquidity farming and trading on Radium for spot, now you can also bet on tokens with leverage. Beautiful. We love that, right,
Yes. And let's see what tokens they have. Wow, they have 1000x Bonk. What are some other favorites of yours? Goatsius, maybe? Goat is here. What else? What else would you consider longing?
I, Jupiter. I think Jup token is something I usually like to go long on. Nice. Bonk and Whiff, something that makes sense once in a while. I like the ones that have liquidity, and I think those are usually on platforms like this. But you just need Solana to make money, honestly, in trading, in future trading. So as long as they have Solana on there, that works for me. I haven't played around with the product myself yet. I'm a pretty big user of Jupiter Perps and especially Flash Trade perpetuals. But now we have another one on the block, and I think it's good to know. Do you think they're already integrated with Ranger, the aggregator, the DEX?
I bet you. I bet you they already are. Fatu and that team are ridiculously connected. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had gotten this announcement like 6 months ago. I've had the worst luck with leverage. Every single time I play with Jupe Perps or Flash Trade or Hyper Liquid, I just, I am literally the worst perps trader in the world.
It's not your game, bro. Don't. I'm also like right now I'm P&L red overall on my portfolio, so I'm not a magician there. But like the thing is, what I learned over the time is, so there's two ways you can do it. Either you make very small decisions all the time and take profits very early, so you make like $20 here, $30 here, go out of the position quickly, or you make one or two bigger bets once or twice a month on the direction and then sit it out, right? And then go in with a higher leverage, keep your liquidation level not too tight, but wait for the right moment. For example, I'm looking at the Solana chart very closely. I'm trying to estimate where when the bottom actually hits, when this fifth wave bottoms, and then the chances in my head, like the chances versus are we going to go deeper or higher? If they are positive for higher, like if it's 70-30, I might get racked 30%, but 70% are going upward, so I might put some money in that gamble. It's still a gamble, but it's a predicted gamble. So prop trading it's fun, but you should definitely not overdo it.
Are you the type of trader that likes to take profits early, or are you like the one that really likes to wait for your timing?
I've learned to take them earlier.
I see.
Yeah, I got nuked here and there by trying to sit it out, right? So what I do, there's two things, right? While we're at the topic, there's two things I like to do. One is bet in the right direction, like wait for the right moment when your odds are more towards what you're betting on, right? So when the odds are looking it's going to be bullish, go long. Then wait until you're in a healthy profit. So let's say I'm $100 in profit already. I'd set the stop loss very tight before I get stopped out, like a $20 profit, right? So I'm at 100 profit now. I set the stop loss at 20. Already now I can go back to work and don't have to check my screen because I won't get liquidated. Even if I have a 10K position on the line right here in collateral, I won't get liquidated. I have to stop loss. So as soon as I can set a stop loss, I do it rather than being like, it's okay if I'm $100 in minus, I'll sit it out. I made that mistake once in a while, and then I'm $200 in minus, then $300 in minus, then $500. And you're like, fuck, actually, it's not playing out the way I thought. Oh, I need to increase my collateral so I don't get liquidated. And then you end up with a fucking 10,000 collateralized position that you have to hold for a month to be out of this. And that's the worst. So that's, set your stop loss as early as possible, get out with a small profit if you have to, rather than risking it all and trying to, game the market. That's one advice I can give, like for people. And then obviously use Stonksy for trading. Stonksy is an indicator that is actually quite cool, that you can install in your trading view, but you need to be a member of Crypto Savings Expert because that's one of their products. Stonksy is actually pretty cool. So shout out to Spot from CSE and their indicator Stonksy, which literally gives you signals in the chart. Green means it goes long, red means it goes down. You can use that as an additional indicator. I use it as well for myself.
In other product news, we have Camino Multiply, right? So it seems like over the last week, the juicy yields that were provided by, like, let's say JLP vaults on Camino Multiply has significantly dipped. I think almost to like 17 or 16% is what I saw online. It's probably even changed since the last time I saw it. So what's going on over here with Camino Multiply, Simon?
I mean, they shipped some news, and they removed the utilization caps for Multiply, which has been there for a long time. And that actually makes an impact on the product itself, because now the market is basically ready to find the neutral equilibrium between supply and demand, purely market based, and that led now to a little bit lower APYs, I would say, than what we saw before, because it does prevent if you remove the utilization caps, it will help the free market to kind of find the equilibrium, and it will be good for long-term growth, overall growth. So in the long run, yields might return to positive or to better levels. But for now, they went a bit down. We can see that. So yeah, that's happened on the Camino front. Not a big problem for the protocol right now, not at all. It's more like something bullish, I would say, because Camino is maturing, and we will be able to see, I think, better APYs in the long run.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to me to kind of see who has survived the bear market. So Camino was definitely not. I'll be honest with you, on my top three for DeFi protocols to survive. At the time, MarginFi was dominating, right? Camino was like bottom of the TVL. And then, Solend was also on top as well. They've rebranded to Save since then. But really, I aside from the Save rebrand, as well as I believe the relaunch of their token, I haven't really seen a lot of news out of MarginFi and Save. However, Camino, though, not only has their TVL like ballooned to over $1 billion at some points, it's probably even more than that at this point, but they're shipping new products. So it's just quite interesting to kind of see who's survived over time.
Yeah, I think Camino is doing a very good job. It's a very great product.
Yes.
I have a lot of people being bullish on it. Know the team personally. We have our solid Sol pool and solid block pool on Camino. It's great to work with the guys. It's a good product.
Our last product update of today, which I think is the most interesting, only because it's not so crypto focused. It's not like a borrowing and lending protocol. It truly is its own new category that's being explored on Solana, which is fitness tech, right? So it's Moonwalk, which is a step tracker app that socializes the experience with other folks that join a pool of crypto. And every single day that you don't meet the minimum step requirements for the pool, you lose a little bit of money. And that money gets shared with, I believe, the top three steppers of your group, right? So it's a very interesting way to use financial incentives to get folks walking around and active. I have been screaming to this team about an iOS app for a very, very long time. I am so sorry, Caitlin, for all the messages. But truly, for an app that tracks your steps, you do need widgets. You need a widget on your Apple Watch. You need an easy-to-use experience on iOS. So I am very, very bullish on fitness tech on Solana. And I do think that financial incentives could be used in a whole host of ways that have nothing to do with pure DeFi.
Oh no, for sure, it's beautiful. It's one of the ways to implement crypto tokens into a system, or like crypto incentives into a system that is not DeFi here. We need more of that, and I think also Metasal, right, one of our friends, he's one of the big time users there of Moonwalk, big ambassador of the team, and it's like this guy. I know that he's like he's literally going out just to make it on top of the leaderboard, just to like he's literally playing the game. Like he's going out like, I'm going to do my call now walking because I need to get on top of the leaderboard. So it's fun, like we're all humans, we like to play, and if you need to get your steps in and you need to move and you need to compete to be more motivated to do so, then Moonwalk we'll get you there.
So Dylan, who's the founder of the NFT collection Dead King Society,
Yep.
he is famously one of the top walkers on
Hmm.
Moonwalk. So I mean, that guy averages anywhere between like 30 to 40K steps a day. I've had multiple calls with him where he will always be walking while you're doing the
Yeah.
call because he has to get his steps in. And I was having a conversation in London about like, this guy can't be for real. He has to be putting his phone on a laundry machine or something, like using the vibrations of the laundry machine to stimulate steps. And no, I can confirm,
Yeah.
as well as other people who've had been on calls with him, that motherfucker is always walking. So Dylan, keep on stepping, my friend.
He's also one of the fitness chats on Solana. Like we have a good circle of people that are, going gymming, and we're like on Telegram, like we're going in some groups, we're going back and forth. And I always see Dylan there talking about his bench press records. It's good to see. Good to see many active builders. Now,
Okay,
time for some drama.
the topic we've been waiting for. I've been hinting at it all podcasts.
It's so stupid.
We like to say internally all the time that our mission is to become the Bankless of Solana. And what we mean by that when we say that is Bankless has done an undeniably great job onboarding folks who have interest in crypto but really don't know where to get started, right? And so I think for a lot of folks, including you, Simon, as well as dozens of people that I've talked to, Bankless was really the gateway drug that made crypto friendly, and it made it understandable to an
Yeah.
audience of people who were interested but didn't know how to get started. Um,
Yep.
but what we didn't anticipate, I think, was what was an impulsive error or mistake or selling. So you want to tell us a little bit more about the story? What happened exactly at Bankless this week?
So first of all, maybe we need to talk about Accelerate, AICCELERATE. So
Mm,
Accelerate it's an investment DAO that was just found. Like this, the page went live in December 2024, not too long ago, and their mission is to build better agents on chain and collect money from advisors and people that are that have a strong impact in the industry, and then use this collective intelligence and money pool to push the agent narrative forward by building agents and supporting and other people that build agents, right, as investors. So great idea. And Bankless launched their new AI podcast series next to their crypto series. So Bankless AI also is shipping now weekly episodes. It's actually a pretty cool podcast again. Very good infos as well. So that's great. But then the problem is that this person that's hosting the podcast together with David is one of the co-founders of AICCELERATE, and he had pretty good intentions with the whole project. But unfortunately, they didn't really plan out their token raise very well for the token that's associated with AICCELERATE, and they gave a lot of their AICC tokens, AIC tokens, to a group of advisors and professionals. I think 150 people. In there were also strategic investors like Bankless, so Dave Hoffman, and also Sean, his co-host, and the Bankless venture team, I think itself as well. And
mm,
they all be part of this 150 people group to invest in Accelerate, and they had no vesting,
mm.
no locks. They just got tokens, right? So everyone got those liquid tokens, and the project got a lot of attention, obviously on Twitter. Their posts went pretty viral of Accelerate, just because of the sheer amount of great people they have in there, right?
Mm,
Let's take a quick glance at it. So basically, they put out a tweet where they introduced the DAO Accelerate, the founding partners, and a few other people from AI16Z, from Birch's Protocol. You have people from AI16Z. Okay, it's the second one in there. You have Nada from Eigenlayer in there. You have a lot of kind of pretty good investment people in there from companies like Delphi Digital, Coinbase Ventures, Mocha Network. So you see all the names, right? Like for
yep.
token, perfect. That creates perfect bullish momentum. They did a very good job at putting out. Those are our backers. We're doing something serious. Eliza, who's running the show here, is co-host with Bankless AI. Everything very bullish, right? And the narrative, obviously, the multi-ecosystem crypto AI index, whatever they're building, like it's crypto and AI, it's hot right now.
I don't think
Yeah,
I can overstate just how bullish this list that you're showing is. It's probably the most stacked list of devs,
yeah,
advisors,
yeah.
research advisors that I've ever seen. It's absolutely ridiculous. So stacked.
Yeah, and I think like obviously they got a lot of attention, right? I think the account kind of blew up pretty quickly, and the post again a lot of views, like 1 million views almost on the introduction post. But now they did this crucial mistake, which is just kind of only made by people who are probably very good at building but very bad at fundraising and tokens and so on. I don't know why no one from the advisor said anything, but they didn't put locks, they didn't put vesting. The community knows that everyone. So there's two things that happen here. One, the community sees, okay, if you want to invest in this early round, in this whitelisted round, you need to be an insider, right? So they only let this 150 hand-picked people in there, insiders, right? So community was kind of left out early on. Obviously, that
Okay.
created some negative vibes already on Twitter, where people were like, "Hey, wait a second, building a DAO, you present yourself as helping the agent industry, but then you're in your little box right now behind the curtain, with your
Mm.
insider cabal, and everyone is buying these tokens at cheap prices, and then you're launching the token for the community, and then second problem, there's no locks and clips for those early investors, so they're fully liquid, the ones that got in cheap, right? Now, if those
Yeah.
150 people would be long-term thinkers, highly integral, and on top of that, give a shit about money, which they, either at least one of those three things they're not, because we all give shits about money. So
Mm.
obviously, when they saw that their token is now worth $500,000 and they put in 10K, it's pretty, it feels pretty easy to pull the trigger. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, like put yourself in the shoes. I would appreciate, if I'm the investor, I'd love to have a lock just to save myself from pulling the trigger. So I can't do it. But people pulled the lock. So yeah. Did you read about the story with Bankless? Like what happened there with the? It was pretty obvious. You can share it as well. The post.
Here's the thing. Yeah. Here's one. There's a couple of. There's actually a bunch of posts and threads that have been made about this
Yeah.
topic. So Adrian DeFi says it's crime season and your favorite influencers are dumping on you. So that's one headline, and then
Yeah.
there's another
Very nice.
post that I think perfectly sums up how I feel about it. Bankless is a
Yeah.
unique combination of predatory and retarded. Taking such a massive reputation hit for just $1 million is simply astounding. To be honest, I don't think that they're that predatory, nor do
Yeah.
I think that
No.
they're that retarded. But
Yeah.
this particular point of taking a massive reputation hit for just $1 million really speaks true to me. And quite
Yeah.
frankly, if you're just an investor with no platform, like you don't have an audience of millions of people, I think it's less of a moral hazard and actually doesn't bother me so much, right? Hey, you agreed on no unlock schedule. The degens are willing to degen into it, knowing that you guys don't have an unlock schedule. Buyer beware. That's not really my problem. That's you, the investor problem. You should do your DD and be a responsible goddamn adult with your money. So that's
Yeah.
the end of that, right? But I don't think it's so clear if you have a platform where millions of people listen to it, right? Because you use that platform to elevate the projects that you want to see succeed. And if you're selling while promoting, I can't really think of a more piece of shit thing to do. Um,
100%.
there's no really two ways about it. I don't have a charitable view of this. You
Yeah.
cannot have a media empire, use that
Mm.
media empire to promote something for financial gain, and then sell while saying that you're
Crypto 101.
bullish.
We've been doing it since years, right? It's
Yeah.
classical playbook, and um, it's just such a subtle topic, but there's ways to do it right? And I know it just from being someone who also launched the token and was working with KLs and ambassadors. Like we personally been picky like forever with the people we let in. And then as soon as I have someone in the pie that owns my token and I feel like, okay, this guy is a shark, like they actually don't give a shit, they just want to dump, then I try to get them out of the company as soon as possible.
Mm.
And that's the problem then, because now people ask me, do I want to say names right now? I'll do it one day, not now. But people ask me, would you recommend XYZ, because they want to deal with me. And I got the question several times from base builders on Solana. They ask me, because I'm kind of connected, and people know that they can ask me questions. So they were like, hey, would you recommend XYZ? I know he's working with you, or she, whatever. And would you like to, give me some hints if it's a good idea to take the deal? I always say, no, fuck him. Like, don't take the deal. They're not good people, right?
Yeah.
And now those guys, those people, they go down in the midterm, long term, because I'm
Mhm.
one of many that talks bad about them. Do you want to do the same
Mhm.
mistake as Bankless? Please don't do it, right? And I think they're
Yeah.
biting themselves right now for that. 100,000%, because they are a media company, as you say. They have a reputation on the line. They are long-term thinkers as well, and that was definitely a mistake.
If you were to do something like this, a faux pas as big as that they did, the best thing that you could do, buy back the
Yeah.
tokens. I mean, honestly, I think it's too little too late, because the investors that you've already kind of fucked, like, who knows where that liquidity is exactly going into? Is that going into new folks who see an opportunity, or is that really getting at the heart of the original holders who felt burnt by you? And further, I mean, you can't really undo financial mistakes like this. I do think that David is working in good faith. I know that's not a popular
Yeah.
statement on Solana. People want to shit on David and Bankless all the time, and make no mistake, I am shitting on the move. It is a unethical move. It makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that you do for to your audience, right?
But
The people who actually listen to you.
but I can
But still,
tell, like,
yeah.
it was a mistake, and I'm pretty sure that the chat rooms inside their Bankless chats with their people were pretty on fire. Like, that they must have written, like, who the fuck just sold our tokens? Why the heck did you do that? I don't think they agreed
Yeah.
with that. So, I don't know who pulled the trigger at the end of the day. Probably someone in Bankless Ventures, like portfolio whatever manager. That was like, okay, can do some returns here. Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Did they buy back the tokens at a lower or high valuation? Do you know that?
I think lower. I think lower. Be honest with I know. Too little, too late. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. At least they should buy back the same amount of dollar, not the
Yeah, yeah,
same
yeah,
amount of
yeah.
token. So something like
Yeah.
this, because now it looks like they just dumped on everyone and then bought back lower to then ride the wave up. Like, it's even worse. So
Yeah.
spicy. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think this wraps up this week's episode of Soul Brothers. Simon, thank you so much for yet another amazing episode. There's so many things happening on Solana all the goddamn time. It's the middle of January, so things are starting to heat up. We noticed that, like, in the first week of January, a little slow, right? Like, post-holiday, it was a little groggy. But now
Yep.
it's starting to pick up.
Yep. Actually, it's been on fire all the time. You just been on vacation, my friend, for a week. But it was like the whole agent shit went down literally on Christmas and New Year's and all that. Like, they didn't really
That's
make a
true.
break here. Opposite, like, it was insane. So yeah, looking forward to the next one. I think there's going to be lots happening in the next week. There's Istanbul coming up in Istanbul, and leading up to the event where you will be as well. There will be a
Yes.
big Jupiter airdrop as well. Jupiter is coming, so we will cover these topics probably in the next live stream and session as well. If you're tuning into this on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or YouTube, thanks for tuning in and being part of the show. You can expect us to ship many more of these and get better every single time. See you guys at the next one. Thanks, Eno. Always a pleasure.
Adios.